The underlying energy for the month is the Ace of Swords in reverse. And this is talking about confusion, chaos. It's not a good time to make decisions. You need to think more rationally. Maybe you're unsure about where to go and what to do. You need to prepare yourself and get resources together and just take baby steps. This could also be about rethinking an idea and going back to the drawing board. And this could also talk about that your judgment is clouded and you need to work on internal clarity or gaining internal clarity about an issue or something or situation. Here we have the Son of Wands, and the Son of Wands talks about passion, adventure, charisma. This can also be a journey, traveling somewhere. But this is moving forward, leaps and bounds, being fearless. But it's like, don't rush into things. Check in first. And with the... let me say this real quick. With the Son of Wands, this is fire energy. So this could possibly be an Aries, a Leo, or a Sag that you're dealing with here. Just throw that out there. It could be male or female. And if it's not a person, then like I said, it's just pointing back to you. And the situation. Here we have the Nine of Pentacles, and this is the fruits of labor. This is rewards, luxury, financial success, financial independence, confidence, being self-sufficient. Everything's in harmony around you. Everything's balanced. Money's flowing in. Being self-sufficient, self-reliant, independent. Okay. Next we have the Temperance card. With the Temperance card, this is patience, finding and learning meaning in moderation, balance, compromise, a middle path, testing waters before you go jumping in, being the master of not letting things get to you. This is working in harmony with others and within yourself, everything coming together fluidly. Here we have the Six of Wands in reverse, and this is excess pride or ego getting in the way. Maybe a lack of recognition. This can also talk about a private victory, something that you've been working on and you accomplished in private and you haven't really shared it with other people. And maybe you don't share it with other people because you're a more shy person. And it's like maybe you need to look at the idea of, do you not share your accomplishments because of fear, not opening up to other people about those things. But this can also talk about a personal definition of success. What do you value as success? How do you look at certain lifestyles and success? Not others' opinions of what success is, but what yours is. And this can also talk about a fall from grace. Perhaps you did not receive the recognition or feedback that you desired for your efforts. Here we have the Five of Cups, and this is loss, grief, self-pity. People may not be what you thought they were. This could be disappointment. Logical mind is clouded by feelings, unwilling to learn from mistakes. Okay, card's kind of crooked. Next we have the Four of Pentacles, and this is conservation, frugality, overly cautious, fear of loss, don't lose sight of what's important. Change can feel like a threat to security. This is also a sign to pay close attention to your finances, and also not just finances as well, but also where you put your energy to stuff and what you give your time to and what you give your resources to, because those are all physical things as well. Next, we have the Sun card. And the Sun card talks about joy, success, celebration, good health. This is happy marriage. This is telling you need to get connected with that solar plexus. Express yourself authentically. This is abundance. The sun and the light shines down upon you no matter where you go. Here we have the Five of Swords in reverse, which means a desire to forgive, to reconcile. It could be a sense of resentment. Winning isn't always worth it. Conflict, and it can also point that the conflict could possibly be worse. Next, we have the Daughter of Wands. This could be a person. Again, this could be fire energy, so it could be Aries, Leo, or Sag. But in this case, I usually look at these as the messenger instead of a person. I mean, it could be just a young person, a very young person. But with the Daughter of Wands here, this is creative, new energy, a new passion, exciting news coming in, usually work-related, and it triggers you to make discoveries, to move on an idea, to remove fear, to gather your resources and move on. All right, next we have the Four of Cups. And with the Four of Cups, this is contemplation, disconnectedness, a lack of interest. Don't miss an opportunity. Solution is probably in front of you. This is also a sign that sometimes your cup is already full. Should you take on something else or not? Maybe certain things don't align with you and you can't take it on. You need to let it go. But this is looking at your options and deciding where you want to go from here. What you want to do. Stepping away from a situation and figuring out what you want. And if you're truly satisfied with what's being given to you. All right, next we have the Ace of Cups. And with the Ace of Cups, this is a new relationship or the renewal of a relationship. This is also about emotional fulfillment. Your cup is overflowing. It's overflowing with joy and happiness, feeling whole and content, that happy feeling, and having passion back, that sense of joy. This is also opening yourself up to new relationships and new opportunities that come your way. Next, we have the Five of Wands in reverse, and this is avoiding conflicts. And not only avoiding conflicts, it can also be ignoring them or deflecting them. But on a good side, this could be respecting differences, like you don't want to argue, you don't want to fight. But that can be a little bit of deflect, like sometimes you do need to deal with the issue. But this can also be internal conflict. This is the sigh of relief after a struggle on the good side of it, saying that you have worked through some personal issues and you've got yourself right back on track again. And you've worked through the struggle. And it's like, finally, we're done with it. I can move on. All right. So the feeling I get for this month and for this reading with the Ace of Swords in reverse is this is about you. You're going to need some internal clarity about some issues. And I think there's some chaotic situations that are going to go on here, obviously. And you're going to need to slow down and think things through rationally and rethink an idea and go back to the drawing board. And when you do that, you have to pull from the inside as well and gain some internal clarity about what you want, where you want to go. Does this align with me or is this somebody else's opinion? And that's what's going to be going on this month. And I do think that's going to happen. This could be someone that you're working in. Maybe they come up with an idea and they bring something in and they want to move fast and haul buggy and get going. And they're saying, oh, you can get all these goodies and all this stuff, the sense of success. And you think everything's going great, but you don't get the rewards that you're seeking. If it is a person. If it's not a person, it's saying with this Knight of Wands is you have this new charisma. You're wanting to move forward leaps and bounds and you're fearless, but the problem is you can't rush into something. You could be rushing into something that's work-related, about wanting to get the fruits of your labor. It could be a new idea. It could be a new venture. It could be something at work. It could be a relationship. It's this whole thing of starting, I want these coins. I want that success. I want that money. I want that independence. And the harmony that it has as well. And enjoying the fruits of my labor. But you're going to have to learn moderation. You're going to have to learn moderation for these things. And you can't just rush in and think, oh, this is what I'm going to get. I want to get it here. This is the success I want. And it's saying here with this Temperance card, you need to learn moderation. You need to learn balance. You need to know that everything needs to be in harmony around you and within you. And even within a group, like I said, if this is another person, things need to be working together fluidly. And this rushing and jumping into things with this situation here can cause you to overspend and cause problems with your finances, or you're putting too much investment into this and it's causing the disappointment. This person's either disappointed you or either what your actions have done here has caused a disappointment. But you come over here with this Temperance card it's saying to you, you need this balance. Even though it could say that you already have it, I get the feeling looking at these cards that it's saying that you need the inner balance, you need that harmony within self. And it's learning to compromise on situations, learning to find the middle path. It's testing waters before we go rushing and jumping into something, because you can put your efforts in and you're expecting to get all this success and all this wonderful stuff. And you know what? It's not turning out the way you thought it was going to be. You're not getting the feedback you expected. And it could be you're in competition with someone else to get a raise, to get ahead of the game, to have the most success. But you need to learn moderation. You need to learn it's not about competition. It's about working together fluidly, happily, in harmony with each other, not competing like this or jumping into something or rushing into something. And also with the Six of Wands in reverse, it could be your pride getting in the way, excess pride. I'm going to have it. I've got it. I'm doing this. Ain't nothing going to knock me down. And then you find out it's not what you thought it was. You're not getting the feedback or the recognition you expected. And it's going to cause you some disappointments and grief here. But with this card as well, you may hit that. Because it also says you need to figure out what, with this Six of Wands, what your personal definition of success is. Like you expect this, but it might not be the outcome you expect. Like I expected to make $100,000, but instead of making $100,000, you made $50,000. But you need to look at what success is. It could have been worse. You could only made $20,000. Or I want to have 300 followers to my Instagram account by the end of the month, but you only get 250. But it's still a sense of success. You know what I'm saying? And it might not be what you expected it was, what you thought it was going to be, or how successful it was going to be, or anything like that, whether it's in a relationship or whether it's work or whether it's just within you and a personal goal that you have. And it's going to cause you some disappointment and grief because you're rushing anything. You're trying to jump in it. You're trying to go leaps and bounds to that sense of success. And now that you're disappointed, you're worried about the loss. You're worried about, have I made a mistake? What am I going to lose because of this? And I may have spent money that I shouldn't have spent trying to invest in something and give my time to something with this Four of Pentacles. And it's saying to you that now you feel overly cautious. And these changes that are happening can feel threatening to you because you came in riding high on this horse thinking, nothing's going to knock me down. I'm going to get what I want. And, or either that somebody else is doing that and then getting it knocked off the horse. And it can cause grief with this Five of Cups here. And it can be that your logical mind is clouded by feelings and you have to be able to learn from your mistakes, or either this person's not learning from their mistakes. Because it's like a warning here, like it's saying to me, balance. You need to know balance. You need to know balance. And if you're not listening, you're not going to get the rewards you seek. You can't rush into something and expect success overnight. So with this Four of Pentacles here, you're going to have to contemplate and figure out what you're going to do. But with that Four of Pentacles, even though you go through that and you may fear the loss, you need, because things feel unstable and you're clinging to something and worrying, oh gosh, have I made a mistake? How bad is it going to be? And then here with the Sun card, it's saying to you, the sense of joy will come back. Connect with your solar plexus, which is your personal power, your confidence, your willpower. Getting back with that. And that will bring that balance, to get that opportunity. If you want that sense of success, you're going to have to balance in moderation about what you can get, what you can do, working in harmony with others, working in harmony within yourself, the different aspects of your life, working in harmony, so that you have that sense of abundance and being authentic to self, not jumping into something because maybe somebody else said, oh, this is how we can make a lot of money, like those quick money schemes type of thing. And you need to know balance. You need to know moderation. You need to find the middle path of not just rushing into something or jumping on a bandwagon because somebody else. And then you end up hitting this snag, a false like didn't get what I wanted, and then I'm grieving over it, and I might have fear of loss because I've invested in something, thinking I'm going to be successful. But here it's like when you learn that moderation, if you follow that, you will have that success. It will come to you. You will have that sense of reaching into yourself and gaining that power and that confidence back and expressing yourself authentically so that you can have that abundance, and what's truly important. All right. So then here with this 5 of Swords in reverse is this a desire to forgive what has happened here. Mistakes were made. Now let's forgive and reconcile. And you may even resent it a little bit. There is a resentment. It can be there because you learn that winning at all costs never pays off. It just fills you with regret. And winning isn't everything. That's what you're learning here. So you have the desire to forgive what has happened. And it could be, you could even be presenting an idea to someone or something, a boss or anybody else, and it just you didn't get what you seeked. And that could have hurt you a little bit and caused disappointment. But you're here to forgive, to reconcile, and learning that winning isn't everything. Okay, and then here with this Daughter of Wands here, this is a creative new energy coming in. Triggers you to make discoveries, to move on an idea, to remove fear and gather your resources, to gather up the pieces and move on. Because you rushed into something, it caused you grief. Now you have to pick up, dust off, and move on. Okay, and then you have that sense of making new discoveries of what can we do now? What can I change? How can I fix this? I've learned my lesson. So now let's contemplate where I want to go next. Okay, if I want that sense of success and, clinging on to watching your money and watching how you invest your time and your resources, now you need to figure out what you want to do next with your energy. Is this aligning with me? This thing that I may want, the success, is it truly aligning with me? Is it causing problems for me? Am I doing it the right way? And you're contemplating and you're trying to figure out what's aligning with you and what's not. But don't waste too much of your time, okay? Because also with this, it can say that the answer is usually in front of you, a problem to your solution as well. But then here you will have, with this Ace of Cups, this new chance to renewal, this new chance for a new opportunity, or the chance to renew either a relationship or a venture or an idea that you started out with, where you'll have that new sense of renewal within self. Your cup will runneth over. You'll be filled with joy again and happiness, and know that the light follows you because you've got reconnected to that solar plexus, which is that confidence again, that willpower to pick up and move on. And opening yourself up to start again, to move forward. And with this 5 of Wands here, you could be avoiding conflict that went on. Maybe you want to avoid it. Maybe you don't want to go back and touch on it again. And it could just be unrespecting differences if it dealt with another person. Or this could be a sigh of relief. Now that I've done all this and we've gone through the struggle and we've made the mistakes and I've worked through this and I'm forgiving myself or forgiving the other person or forgiving the situation, I've picked myself up and I'm ready to move on to these new things and these new opportunities, or renewing myself and moving forward, I can now sigh and say, okay, we've gone through it, we're done. Now that I've worked through my internal conflict or my personal issues or the issues that were bothering me or the struggle, I am now at a relief. It's that sigh of relief. I have gained that clarity back now about working through the chaos and looking at things rationally. Now I can have that internal clarity now. Okay. So it looks good. I mean, you go through this little issue here, but in the end, I think you're going to find that internal clarity and you're going to look at things in a new perspective, rationally. Okay. And you're going to learn from it.